So how the structure will look like, what is meant by a neural network, and all the other, why do we go for it, and what is meant by single layer perceptron and multi-layer perceptron. So today I'll continue with the next session. So it is how you will have much of the logic gates. So what are the logic gates you actually know? We are familiar with this, and or and gate, or gate, then not gate, XOR gate, like this it goes on. So so we are going to represent all these logical functions using the neural network. Okay. So now we'll start with the simple example here. So yesterday itself, sir might have told you. So you have an input layer. So the left hand side, you just see the green color. The green color nodes are what you call to be the input. So from there, the input will be passed, and the middle one is what you call to be hidden layer, and the last one is called as an output layer. So the middle one, the one in blue color is what called hidden layer. The last pink color node is what you call to be output layer. So there are three divisions like this. So actually what you do is that the input, all the inputs will be given to the input layer, and you just see you have got the two individual nodes in input layer. So each and every node will be connected to all the nodes of your hidden layer. Okay. So when you take a first node, it will be connected to the hidden layer, all the nodes of the hidden layer, and the second also will be connected to the hidden layer nodes. And from the hidden layer, the connections will be made to the output layer. So you'll give the input and you will process the data, and based on weight and bias also will be given. And after that one, you will process the data in the hidden layer. Again, that will be given on the output layer. So we will just see simple examples. So actually, Sir might have given you the formula of how to connect the input and provide to the hidden layer. For example, actually in the input layer, you have a value 1. And you have a weightage also to be 1. So it is 1 into 1. Weightage into, if X is the input and W1, X1 is the input and W1 is the weightage for the particular layer, then it is X1 into multiplied. Okay. X1 into W1, that will be given on. Okay. And so we'll see further examples so that you will be clear with this one. So you just refer to this one. So total input, how do you calculate the input is that weight on the line 1 into input on line 1. Okay, that's what I told you, x1 into w1 plus x2 into w2, like this it goes on. So you just see this one. This is a simple example of a neural network. So you just see you got all the input layers, and in the middle you have the hidden layer and the last output layer. So in the input layer, you see the inputs, they are named to be x1, x2, x3, x4, and x5. 5 nodes are there. So and now you have the weightages. Using the weightages, now you just see the link between x1 and a1, f of theta you have now in the middle. You just see you have got it to be, the node name is a1, a2, a3, and a4. Okay. So in input layer, you have got 5 nodes. So x1, I'm naming it as x1 to x5, and in hidden layer you have to be a1 to a4, and in the last output layer you have one single node. Okay. And even in output layer, if you want, you can go for multiple nodes also. Okay, multiple input nodes can be there, multiple output nodes also can be there. So in x1, you just see the x1 is being connected to all the nodes of the hidden layer. You just refer and see each and every input layer will be connected to all the hidden layer. Okay, nodes of the hidden layer. So you see x1 is connected to all a1, a2, a3, and a4. And x2, you just see x2 is also connected to a1, a2, a3, and a4. So similarly, each and every individual node in the input layer is being connected to the each and every node of your hidden layer. Okay. So now you take x1. So you are connected first to a1 using and the weightage present there is w11. Okay. So it is 1 x1 a1. So you call that to be 1 1. And in the next one, you just see the second link, it goes to a2. Okay, x1 to a2. That's the second link you are connected. And how shall we name the weightage over there? So it is 1 x1 a2, right? So it is 1 2. So I'm having the weightage to be w12. Okay, so it's being connected to a2. Now see the third link. So how shall we write the weightage now? So it is x1 connected to a3. So 1, 3 is a connection wind. Okay, x1, x to the suffix 1, a to the suffix 3. So this to the 1, 3. So I'm writing the weightage to be W1, 3. And the last one you see, x1 is connected to the last A4. So the weightage will be 1, 4. Okay, so this is how you are having all the weightage. Okay, so you have a number of input nodes in the input layer, a number of nodes in hidden, as well as one or multiple in the output layer. Okay. So now, and one more point you have to remember is that each and every node in the input layer will be connected to all the nodes of the hidden layer, and all the nodes in the hidden layer is also connected to the output. Okay. So and how do we now write the weightage? Even from the hidden, when you connect to the output layer, you have the weightage over there also. So you just see now A1. Okay. So A1, the first node in the hidden layer. So it is A1. So now A1 is connected to the output layer. So the output layer, the weightage, how are you writing? W1 into K. Okay, so you name that to be, in general, you name it to be the output to be K. So I'm writing it to be 1K, and from 2 I'm getting it to that K connection. So I'm having it as W2K, and the next one is W3 and W4K. Okay, so like this it goes on, and finally you will get an output. Okay, so you might have heard about all the applications of neural networks. So I might have explained you. So almost it is applicable now. This is a trending, and you next you go for, this is a basic neural network structure, and from here you go on to artificial neural networks. Okay, and convolution neural networks and deep learning and so on. Okay, so that is where we are now, and so this is what is the general structure. Okay, so now let us move on to the next one. So you just, and moreover, one more thing, you just see the hidden layer, you have the formula. So now how will you see actually when you connected the input, how many inputs are now coming to A1? You just see this one. So you have how many inputs are coming to this one? F of theta, and the naming is A1. So here how many inputs are being connected? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, because the input from all the five nodes will be connected to each and every hidden layer I told you. So now you just see A1. A1 has got how many number of inputs? 5 inputs. Okay, that input will be how do you now consolidate that input? So you have 5 individual inputs. Now you have to consolidate all the inputs over here. Then after that, these inputs will be given to the hidden layer. There you will apply some thresholding, some sigmoidal function like activation function. Okay. So after that, all these input will be given to an activation function. Then here you will get the output. Okay, consolidated one individual output. Okay, in particular A1. So first, how many links are being connected to A1? So you have got 5 links. So all x1 to x5. So all the individual nodes are being now connected to A1. I'm considering only A1 now. Okay. So now you have 5 individual input links. So now you have to consolidate all the input into one single value. Okay. And that value now it will be given on to A1. And what happens now is that now it enables the activation function. So you can use a sigmoidal function or a tangent function, a number of functions. So has given an interaction on all these activation functions and thresholding functions. So now that is what. So now we'll just directly get into. Okay. So we have to use any of the functions. So sigmoidal function, for example, I can use a tangent function, and that is what is you call to be activation function here. And you collect all the inputs. The aggregated input will be now given to the activation function, and it now gives you an individual output. Okay, and that consolidated output again, it will be multiplied with the W1K. Okay, that particular weightage, and then it will be given onto the output layer. Okay, and one more thing is that apart from all these things, you also give the bias. Okay, bias to all, how many number of hidden layers you have. Here you have only one hidden layer. Similarly, you can have multiple number of hidden layers. Okay, so to each and every hidden layer, you even pass the bias also. Okay, even not only to the hidden, to the output also. Okay, so now you just see the formula. How will you write? You just refer to hidden layer. So how are you writing the formula now? So how will you aggregate the inputs, the total input at A1? Okay, that's what is given to be AJ. So the J value of J is equal to 1 currently. Okay, so I'm considering only A1. So A1 will be equal to the function of the summation. So how do you get the summation now? So now, what is the input that you will accumulate at A1 is that, so you multiply x1 into W11. All right. So x1 into W11, okay, plus, and what is the second link that is being inputted to A1? It is x2 into 21. Okay, so x2 into W21. Okay, it is not written here, so you can just understand. Okay, try understanding. So x2 is linked to A1. X2 is also linked to A1. Okay, so how can I name the weightage there? So it is 2 connected to 1. So it is 2, 1. So now how will I, now what I will get? X1 into W11 plus, for the second link, it is X2 into W21. And the third link to the input of A1, how will we write? Plus X3 into W31. The next one plus X4 into X4 into what you will write? W41. The next one X5 into W51. Okay. So all these will be added up. That's what is, we have written the summation. Okay, this is a generalized formula. So it is summation of I equal to 1 to n Wij into xi. Okay, you multiply each and every weightage into your input value. Okay, so you multiply that, then again you add one Vj, that is what you put the bias value. Okay, so sir has already given introduction on all these. So so directly we'll get into all these terminologies. So and next you have the bias. So bias will be directly added. Okay, it is just always the value of bias will be equal to, do you remember? It is equal to plus 1. Okay, always the value of bias will be equal to plus 1. Okay, so now the formula goes like this. It is the weightage into the input value input value x. Okay, so x1 into w11 plus like that it goes on. Okay, x2 into w21, like that it goes on. So summation of all the values, along with it now you add the bias value. Okay, so that is the next. Okay, and now you just see this figure. See, already in unit 1 you have learned supervised learning. Okay, so supervised learning, what did you learn in the introduction of supervised learning? So you might have learned an example called the family cars. You divide, you might have plotted all the car, okay, based on some price and some other engine power. Okay, price and engine power actually you're done in your classwork. Okay, in unit 1 you might have learned. Okay, so now you have x and y axis. Now all the points, now you point all the car models based on their price and engine power. Okay, price and x axis and engine power and y axis. So based on that you plot all the points. Okay, means the cars. Okay, so all the cars you plot now. So cars may be of different varieties. It can be of different categories. Cars may belong to maybe like family cars or luxury cars or sports car, etc. Okay, so now you're plotting all the car, okay, the car into a graph-like structure, okay, using an XY axis, we're trying to plot it. Now the objective is that I'm asking you to split the family car from the remaining type of cars. Okay, so how did you do there in the supervised learning in unit 1? So you divided all the family cars to be some value like any dotted symbol or something you kept it. You divided using a straight line, okay, or using a rectangular structure or using some other structure also. You could try to separate the required samples from the unrequired samples. Okay, so the required samples you there called to be positive examples and the not required to be okay, negative examples. So here all the positive examples group or using a boundary, you collect all the positive examples into one side and the negative examples into other side. Okay, suppose my consideration is only family cars, then what did I do there? I just used some rectangular boundary. I divided all the positive examples from the negative examples. Okay, so other than family car, either it is luxury car or sports car, it doesn't matter, but all these are negative examples. Okay, only family cars are treated to be positive examples or positive samples. So I can use any sort of boundary, rectangular boundary or circular boundary or whatever. Okay, and now here I'm using a linear boundary to separate these two categories. Okay, so you just see you have some circular points as well as the plus symbol points. Okay, so you have valid answer and rapid pair. Okay, so here you divide them into using a straight line. So you just see this decision boundary of the straight line that exactly it classifies the positive from the negative samples. Okay, the record from the unrecord sample. So to the left hand side of my decision boundary, I have completely the samples which I require, and the right hand side it has some other samples. So clearly this is differentiating these samples. Okay, so this is what perfectly it is classifying the positive samples from the negative samples. So now go through this example. So left hand side and right hand side, they are, you just see. So you have price and size. Okay, this is like a housing. Okay, price of you want to sell a car, sell a house, and depending on the price and the size, you are trying to, okay, in the sold or not sold, you are betting. Suppose you're going to wanted to sell it in, this week, so you already posted a message, so it is sold or not sold, whatever. Okay, or you're going to sell or no, you're not going to sell, whatever. Okay, so like this, you're trying to, you're having some samples like this. So how can you now classify this one? So first one, can you classify in the left hand side? You just check it out. Can you classify all the yes from no? Is it possible using any linear structure or using a rectangular structure? So anyhow, whatever you do, anyhow, at least one n or one yes will be probably inside your boundary. Okay. So this is quite difficult for you to decide. Okay. So you cannot exactly classify the positive from the negative samples. Okay. In the left hand side figure, you just refer to the right hand side figure. So you have all yes in one category, one side, and all no, the other portion. Okay. So now, can I use a linear boundary? Okay, so here you can directly use one line, okay, a linear boundary, and you can directly separate. Okay, so you just see the third figure now. Can you all understand now? So in the first figure, I had it like this, and in the second one, second is the example what I have given you, and I asked you to divide. So in the first left-hand side, first figure, it is not possible to divide exactly, and in the second middle figure, you just see that for I asked you to just to classify yes from no. Okay, so I have classified using a linear boundary. Okay, that's what I have done it in the last one. Okay. So this is how you just divide the positive samples from the negative samples. Okay, so now we will come to the logical operations. Okay, so this is just a basic introduction. So now we'll start with the original topic. Okay, so you have logical operators. So lot of the logical operators you already know, and, or, and not. So first one, I am having the AND gate. So an AND gate, it is A and B. So you have 4 different inputs. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. So A and B, so you get the output is just like your multiplication. So it gives you 0, 0, 0, and 1. Okay, and the OR gate also you will be knowing. So in OR gate is just like your addition. So it is 0 plus 0, 0, 0 plus 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, and last is your NOT gate. So you know this is the negation. So wherever you have 1, it becomes 0, and when 0, it becomes 1. Okay, so this is what. So now you refer to this example. So the left hand side you see. So now you have the AND gate now. Suppose I've written the below the figure. You just see. Suppose we use AND. Okay. So these are the points. What are the 4 possible points that you can have? It can be 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay. So now I'm plotting all the 4 points over here. Okay, X and Y. I'm plotting it now. So 0, 0 you will have. Next time I have to plot 1, 0. 0, 1. And next I'm plotting 1, 0. And next I'm plotting 1, 1. Okay, all the 4 inputs are being now plotted. So now what is the now output? Suppose if this is an AND gate, what will be the output at each and every, now you have got 4 points, right? At each and every 4 individual point, now what is the output value over there? So you know, see the AND gate, the output will be all 3 zeros and only for the last 1, 1. When both are present, 1 into 1 is equal to 1. Okay. So now you just see, so at the 0, 0 point, what is the, see at the 0, 0 point, what is the output value? It is 0. So I'm marking here to be 0. And this point is 0, 1. What is the output of 0, 1? It is 0. So I'm writing it here. And the next one at the bottom also what you have, it is 1, 0. So there also you have an output of 0. So that plays a marking 0. And last 1, 1 you see, if 1, 1, what is the output of 1, 1? There alone you have it to be 1. Okay. So now you have it like this. So directly you are having all 3 zeros, and you are having only one. Okay, one value. Okay, so now the question is, how can how will you separate it linearly? Is it possible to separate this one all the positive samples from negative samples? Maybe you divide a 0 into one particular side and 1 into the other particular side. Is it possible? Yes. Is it possible using a linear boundary? Means using a straight line, can you just divide all the zeros into one side and one into the other side? Yes, it is possible. Okay. So you draw, and later on I'll give you all the figures. Okay. The outputs also I have, I'll show you. So you can draw a line. Okay. So you can draw a line over here, so that here you can, if you directly draw a line over here, at the left hand side of the line you will have all zeros, and the right hand side of the line you will have a 1. Okay. So this is what is an AND gate. And the second one, you just see the right hand side figure you just refer to, you have an OR gate. So in OR gate, how it will be, it is just like an addition. So 0, 0, 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 0, 1, 1 plus 1, 1. Okay. Now marking all the outputs. Now how we will have, actually what is this point? 0, 0, what is the output now? It is equal to 0. And the next you have for 0, 1, what is the output? So it is equal to 1. Okay. At that point, you just see I have put it as a 1. Below figure, you just see I have marked it as 1. Okay. So for 0, 1, what is the value? 1. So that one I have marked it here. And what is this point? It is 1, 1 point. So for 1, 1, what is the output? This is the 1. Okay. So I mark this 1. And what is this point? It is 1, 0. For 1, 0, what is the output? It is 1. So I marked it. So now the question is this case, is this OR linearly separable? Is this separable or not? Okay, and it is linearly separable. We can now classify using a straight line. Using a straight line now, at one side you have all zeros, and at the other side you may have all ones. Okay, and now coming to OR gate, can this be, is this linearly separable? That's the question. Can we make it now? Hope you would have understood all these things. Yes, I can linearly separate it. Okay, so how will you do that? See, now if I draw a straight line over here, so at the right hand side I will have all differentiate the positive samples from the negative samples. Okay. Okay. So this is what we are looking into. So let me move on to the next page. You just see the AND gate and OR gate now. Can you understand now? I have plotted all the points now. For AND gate I have plotted. I asked you whether it can be linearly separable or not. Okay. So AND gate linearly separated. Yes, I'm using a linear boundary. I'm clearly separating all the zeros from 1. Okay. So you just see the first figure, in the left hand side, to the left hand side, all the values are zeros, and to the right it is 1. And now coming to OR gate, already we have done with the OR gate, isn't it? You just see the OR gate here in the previous page. So here you just see, so this is also linearly separable. See, I've used a linear boundary over here. So to the right lies all the positive samples, maybe 1. Okay, and to the left hand side you have the negative. Okay, so now the now you might have understood that both AND gate and OR gate are linearly separable. Okay, and the word linearly separable. Okay, so AND gate and OR gate are linearly separable. Okay, that's what you might have understood from this one. Okay, that's the conclusion of this portion. So now you just see the XR. Okay, and NOT also, can we do it with NOT? NOT can you do? Yes, so is NOT linearly separable or not? What would be the answer? Just think over it. Yes, that also is separable. Okay, you can just draw a straight line. 0 will be separated from 1. Okay, so that is also linearly separable. Okay, so what are the what all gates can be linearly separable, and it can be done with single layer perceptron? So that is using one single straight line. I'm trying to separate the positive samples from negative samples. Okay, so so that is what you might have saw. You might have noticed in AND gate, OR gate, and NOT gate. So the question may be like this: which are the gates that are linearly separable? So AND gate, the answer is AND gate, OR gate, and NOT gate. Okay, AND, OR, NOT. All the three gates are linearly separable. Linearly separable, and this is using one. Now only one line I'm using. Okay, moreover, using one individual linear boundary, I can clearly separate all zeros from ones. Okay, that is the idea. So XR, now you just see what is the XR table in the right hand side. You just refer to, I've given you an XR table. So if it is, when both the inputs are equal to, when both the inputs are same, in that case you get the value to be equal to 0. In other cases you have it to be 1. Okay, can you just go through the table? Go through the table and see. So when both the inputs are 1, that means 0, 0 and 1, 1. Only in such a case your output will be equal to 0. And in all the other cases, okay, when you have 0, 1 and 1, 0, you have the output to be equal to 1. Right? Okay. So now how are you plotting it? You just refer to the left hand side figure, the XR problem in pattern space. So now I'm marking it to the X and Y. Okay, as how we did for AND and OR get now. Okay, in the previously. So for 0, 0, what is the output value? So it is equal to 0. Okay, so that I have marked 0. And for 0, 1 place, what is the output? You have 1. So that we have marked 1. And at 1 to 1, 0, what do you have? It is 1. Again, that is also marked 1. And for the last 1, 1, you have it to be 0. Okay. Now the question is, can we linearly, can we separate them using linear boundary now? Are they linearly separable now? Using one single straight line, can I separate? So you have this shaded portion, no? This shaded portion is 1 and this dotted portion is 0. Even if I use a line like this, at least one positive sample will lie here. Okay. And if you use a line like this or this, anyhow, whenever you use one single line to a line and try to separate, it is not at all possible, right? So either the plus 1 or 0 will be probably falling into these sides. Okay, so you cannot exactly classify 0 from 1. Okay, so you cannot exactly classify the positive sample from the negative sample. Okay, so this is the problem with the single layer perceptron. Okay, so sir has given you has given you an ample introduction about single layer perceptron. Probably you'll be getting a question like, so XR can be solved by single layer perceptron. That's the question. Can XR be solved by single layer perceptron? No, it cannot be solved. Okay, so XR problem cannot be solved by single layer perceptron. So you have to move on to multi-layer perceptron. That case. Okay, so you have to use multi-layer perceptron in order to solve this XR case. Okay, so in that case, how will you do that? So you will have it like this, isn't it? So you can use one boundary over here. Okay, I can use one boundary like this, and I can use one more boundary like this, and then try to separate. Okay, so if I use two lines, can I separate now? Yes, can now if I use two lines, can I separate? So I can use a line like this. Okay, I can use it to one line here, one line here. So in the middle, okay, so in between two lines, you will have the negative, you will have all the values of zeros, and outside of the two line, you will have now 1. Okay, so that is a perfect way of dividing. And suppose I'm using one other way. I'm putting a straight line over here, and moreover I'm putting a straight line over here. Okay, so in that case also, between these two lines you have a value of 1, and outside of these two lines, that means the outside portion will contain the 0 value. Okay, so using two lines, can we now separate this XR? Yes, using the two lines now you can separate the XR. Okay, so just hold on 1 minute. So, okay sir, எனக்கு ஒன்றும் வரல. ஓகே சார், ஓகே. ஓகே சார், நீங்கள் பண்ணுங்க, நான் வெயிட் பண்ணுறேன் லைனில். அக்செப்ட். ஓகே சார். Hello, fine students. So now, what is the limitation of a single layer perceptron? The single layer perceptron can solve which all gates. So it's a very important point you will have to remember. So single layer perceptron can solve AND gate, OR gate and NOT. Okay, NOT, AND gate, OR gate, and NOT gate. And XOR problem will not or cannot be solved by single layer perceptron. Okay, it is an important point to be noted. So now, to solve this XOR problem, now you go on to multi-layer perceptron. Okay, so I'm drawing one single line. No, actually, I'm using here to solve this XOR. I'm using two individual lines. Okay, two lines to separate the positive samples from the negative samples. Clear? Okay, so to generate one line, you have one neuron, and to generate the other, you have one more neuron. Okay, so like that you can use and you can try to separate. Okay, so XOR, since XOR cannot be solved by using single layer perceptron, you want to multi-layer perceptron, right? Okay. So we'll see a few other examples, the problems regarding this. So now you just note down this one. So here, for example, A and B are the two inputs now. Okay. So now you have a threshold of value 1 more. Okay. The weights, you have the weights over here, and okay. So the weight value is given over here. Okay. Okay. So you just you have the input neuron. Okay, you have A and B. Okay, so it's an important problem. Do just listen to this carefully. So you have A and B, two neurons you have, and now I'm providing a threshold value theta equal to 1. Okay, so you just see the red color one. So you have the threshold value I've given there. So theta is equal to 1. Okay, and the weightage what I've given is 0.6 and 0.6. Okay, to A to connect it to the middle neuron, and B to connect it to the neuron. Okay, so now you just read and see the below line. The red neuron is a decision neuron. So if the sum of the synapse weighted inputs is greater than the threshold, okay, so how will I get the aggregated inputs over here? I have to take the x value, multiply with the weightage value. Correct? I've already given you the formula. Okay, x value into the weight value, that will be taken, and then only it will be given out to it. That will act as an input to this one. Okay. And now, whatever you get here, the aggregated, all the summation you do, all the multiplications, everything is done, and the aggregated input is passed over here. And this value is now checked with the threshold value, whatever is present here. Okay. Now I'm giving a value theta equal to 1. So you just read the statement and see if the weighted inputs is greater than this particular threshold. So that means if the aggregated answer is greater than 1, then the output will be equal to 1. Otherwise, the output will be equal to 0. Okay. So this is a point that you will have to remember. So you have A and B. So now the question is, what will be the input to A and B? Okay, so what are the possible values? In the previous example itself, we have noted, isn't it? So for all logical, you will have 4. Okay, so it is 0, 0. So now here only two inputs are there. Isn't it? 3 now you will have many. So now only you are considering only two inputs, so x and y. So here it is A and B. So in A and B, you have what are the values of A and B would be? So one time it will be 0, 0, and it will be 1, 1, and it will be 0, 1 or 1, 0. Okay, so what are the 4 possible ways? 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. Okay, so that is the value of A and B. And here I am giving you the weightage value. Now what is aggregated input over here? So it is x1 into 0.6 plus, so one more arrow is pointing over here, isn't it? So it is x2 into 0.6, right? That is aggregated input over here. And the next one, you will compare that value with this particular threshold value. So if that value is greater than the threshold, you will output an answer of 1. Otherwise, that the output will be equal to 0. Okay. Now try this solution. Look into the solution. So if what is the first input in when I consider any gate, AND gate or OR gate or XOR gate? 0, 0. Okay. So now A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0. So here you have the input value 0. Here also you have the input value 0. Okay. So now how will I do now? 0 into 0.6. Okay, 0, you see here, 0 into 0.6 plus, it is a summation also, isn't it? So summation of, here you have a value, it is 0, 0, right? So 0 into 0.6. So first A and B you have, so 0 into 0.6 plus 0 into 0.6, which is equal to 0. And what is the threshold value I've given you? So is this greater than your threshold? Here I've written. So this is not greater than your threshold 1. Okay. So the output will be, if it is not greater than the threshold, what will be my output? My output will be equal to 0. Correct. I've written in the previous line. I've underlined it. Okay. Just go through. So this 0, it is not greater than my threshold. What is the threshold? 1. 0 is not greater than 1. So what I do is that, now what output will I get there? The output will become 0. Okay. Next you consider next value. So it is 0, 1. Now you take here to be 0, here to be 1. So 0 into 0 0.6 plus 1 into 0 0.6. Correct? That will be my aggregated input over here. Okay. So if A is equal to 0 and B equal to 1, so here you have 0, here I have 1. So it is 0 into 0 0.6 plus 1 into 0 0.6. So that answer will come here. So that answer is actually 0 0.6. So is this greater than, okay, is it greater than the threshold? Okay, so it is not greater than the threshold. So the output, what will be the output now? It will be equal to 1. Okay, what's the threshold value? Threshold is equal to 1 here, for example. Okay, so if it is not greater than 1, then what shall I do? My output will be equal to 0. Next, you consider 1, 0. So here I am having 1 and this is equal to 0 now. So how will I write, what will the aggregated input here? 1 into 0 0.6 plus 0 into 0 0.6, right? So that is, again, it is equal to 0 0.6. So this is not greater than, is it greater than or not? You have to check it out. Okay. So this is not greater than the threshold, say 1. So the output is automatically become 0. And the last one I'm taking to be 1, 1. So here you have 1, here you have 1. So it is 1 into 0 0.6 plus 1 into 0 0.6. Okay. So the answer is 1.2. So is 1.2 greater than your threshold? What is the threshold value? It is 1. So is 1.2 greater than 1? Yes. So in that case, this exceeds the threshold. So then my output will be equal to what? 1. Okay. So now you just tell me what sort of gate it is. When it is equal to 0, 0, output is equal to 0. When the input is 0, 1, the output is equal to 0. When the input is 1, 0, the output is equal to 0. When the input is equal to 1, 1, my output is 1. So what gate it is? Can you guess now? When the input is 0, 0, only for 1, 1, the answer is 1. For the remaining inputs, whatever I give to this neural network, I get an output of 0. So now what gate it is? So it is exactly your AND gate. Can you understand now? So we have designed a neuron that implements a logical AND gate. Okay, so this example, they may ask you, they may give you an example like this, they may ask you to solve it. Okay, so now this gate is actually an AND gate. Okay, shall we go on to the next example? So just try with this one. I think you would have become familiar with the previous example. Now identify what gate it is. I've given some value weightage called 1.1 and weightage over B also to be 1.2. You can give any weightage, okay? It need not be equal. You can give any weightage. For example, I've given 1.1 and 1.1 and threshold value theta is equal to 1. Okay, you can give any value. So I'm giving it here as 1.1 and 1.2. Okay, so now what is the input now? A and B can be, it can be either 0, 0 and next time it can be 1, 1 or it can be 0, 1 and 1, 0. Okay, 4 different cases are there. So first you have to consider for 0, 0. So if it is 0, 0, how will I do? 0 into 1.1 plus 0 into 1.1. So which is equal to 0. You have to check whether the value is greater than 0 or greater than the threshold or not. Okay. The threshold value is actually 1. So this is not greater than the threshold 1. So the output will become 0. Next case you see when A is equal to 0 and B equal to 1, how it will be 0 into 1.1 plus 1 into 1.1. So it is equal to 1.1. So 1.1 is greater than your threshold, correct? Your threshold is actually 1. So your output, what input here you have got is 1.1, which is probably greater than your 1. So your output will be equal to 1, correct? Okay. So when it happens to 1, 0 also, it becomes what? The output becomes 1. Okay. So it is 1 into 1.1 plus 0 into 1.1. So this value is also greater than your threshold. So the output will be equal to 1. When I consider the last case 1, 1, so it is 1 into 1.1 plus 1 into 1.1. The answer is 1.2. So this exceeds the threshold. This value 1.2 is greater than the threshold called 1. So the output also the output will be equal to 1. Okay. So now we consider when the input is 0, 0, output is 0. When the input is 0, 1, the output is 1. When the input is 1, 0, the output is 1. And when it is 1, 1, the output is 1. So now identify what gate it is. So it is exactly your logical OR gate. Correct. So now you have now implemented a neuron, and this neuron is actually a logical OR gate. Okay. Okay. We'll move on to the next one. You will just see the not gate now. Okay, not. What is meant by not? It is just a complement. Like, okay, when you give a zero, it should give you a one, and when you give a one, it should give you a zero. Okay. So now I've given some value. Just check what type of gate it is. Okay, that will be a question. You will be given a figure earlier, and you will be asked to find the gate. Okay, what gate it is. So now the decision neuron, when A is equal to 1, now you just consider when A is equal to either it can be 1 and it can be 0 at a particular time. Okay, first you are considering 1. So 1 and 2 minus 1. Okay, you just you yourself you calculate and see. So the threshold I have given it to be minus 0.5. Is the output right now? Just all of you just do it in your mind and see. So I'm giving initially 1, so 1 into minus 1. Is it greater than this threshold? So if it is greater than the threshold, what I should do, and if it is less than the threshold, what value it will be. So already in all the previous slides I have given it. Okay, if it is greater, you can give it to be 1, and if it is lesser, it can give it to be 0. Okay. So now when A is equal to 1, you get an output. Okay. So by you are checking the threshold, and finally your output will become 0. And when you give a 0, then after multiplying and you check with the threshold, you get an output. Okay, so what example it is? Now you got a NOT gate. Okay, so this neural network is actually a NOT gate. Yeah. Okay. So this is what. So now you just this is an example. See, if you want, you have a notebook or you have a phone, you just take a click of it, and later you can try to solve it. Okay, just in mind, can you just find out what gate it is? So three individual gates are given. So you can identify now. It's a very important. Okay, all it will be a big answer. Okay, for big answer they will ask you. They will give a neural network. They will ask you to identify the gate. Okay, so what gate it is? So three individual things are there. Okay, this is subdivision A. This is subdivision B. This is subdivision C. Okay, so three individual neural network is given to you. Now you have to identify what gate it is. Okay, that is the question. So first one you have to find out. You also what value you will give. 0 and 1. Okay, only one neuron is there, so you can take one time input is 0, one time input is 1. Okay, and you have to find out. Okay, like the way how we solved just previously. And what, so here you have two input neurons. Okay, this is the input neuron, this is the threshold. Okay, this is actually a threshold value, and this one is your weightage value. Okay, so here you have two nodes. So what will be the, say you consider this to be x1, this to be x2. So what will be the values now? So it will become either 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1. Okay, so you have to now follow the steps what I have told you in the previous slides. Okay, how did I solve all those? The same way you have to solve this, and you have to identify what gate each and everything is. Okay, subdivision A is what gate, subdivision B and C are what exact gates you have. Okay, so this type of neural network problem is what gate. Okay, that's the question. So you can take a photo, you can solve it and see during a lecture time, right? Okay, so I've given you an answer. So you just solve it, and you can post the message also. Okay, and these are few applications. Later, if you want, you can just take a glance at it. Okay. So why do we go for bias? Already some might have told you, but just I've given one small picture in the presentation. Okay. So actually, you have an equation called y equal to mx plus c, right? Okay. So what is the use of c? The same c is nothing but the bias over here. Clear? Okay, so don't get confused with what all these new terminologies and all. Okay, so c y equal to mx plus c. Okay, in the that's the equation of a straight line, right? So the c is exactly our bias what we use. Okay, so next shall we start with the back propagation algorithm now? Okay, so 15 more minutes are there. I'll just finish with that. Okay, so back propagation algorithm. So here, this is the generalized algorithm I've given you. Okay, so it is very simple. Just try to understand. Okay, only the formulas you will have to remember. So just to go through this, like this only you will be given for your exam. Okay, it is a very important problem. Please be attentive. So you are given, you will be given a question, and you are given the neural network like this. Okay, you will be given a set. So how many, what all you have? You have the input layer, x1, x2, and x3, and the output and the hidden layer. This is your hidden layer. You have got it to be 4 and 5. Okay, 4, 5 is your hidden layer, and the last one is 6. This is your output layer. Suppose sometimes the neural network, the structure will not be given, only the question will be given. Okay, in that case, you have to decide by yourself. Okay, you have to design the entire neural network by yourself. Okay, if the neural network is not given, but the question details, everything will be clearly given to you. Okay, so now you will just see x1, x2, x3 is there, and what is the weight that connects x1 and 4? So I'm having the weightage to be 1 4. Okay, and the one that connects 1 with 5, you call it to be W15. And you just see each and every input will be connected to all the hidden nodes. Okay, so this is connected here, this one, this one. So 3 inputs are coming over here. Here you apply the activation function, and here you will get the net output function. Okay, please be careful with these wordings. You should not get confused. See, what here 3 inputs are there. Okay, so here you will get all the 3 inputs. Then inside you will have the activation function, like a sigmoidal function or tangent function, whatever. So here, and after applying the function over inside that node 4, then you have the outermost, I don't know, that at that particular area you will have the net output. Okay, so and from there again, that net output again will be multiplied with W46, and then it will be given down to 6. Okay, the same way it goes on. Okay, so along with this, bias also will be added to each and every neuron. Okay, and in the question they have given the learning rate to be 0.9 and the value of x to be 101. That means what? Here you have 1, here you have 0, here you have 1. Yeah, this is the question. So you have the initial weight. Okay, x equal to initial the value of input value. So x equal to 101. That means the input is 1, 0, 1. Okay, only for this one you have to now solve the entire structure. Okay, so if this is not given, depending on the question, you have to design by yourself. Okay, so I will just explain you next. So this is just the problem we have solved. Okay, so this is the input. This is the question they will give you. Okay, now you just see you've got x1, x2, x3. That means there are 3 input nodes you have. Okay, that's the meaning you refer from this. So 3 nodes you have to draw. Okay, 1, 0, 1 is the input weight. The next one, what you are having 1, 4. That means one node 4 is there that you have to identify. Then you have 1, 5. So 1 is being connected to 5. So one more hidden node is there, that is 5. You have identified. Next one, W24. So W2425, W3435. So from this you can identify that there are 2 hidden neurons, that is 4 and 5. It's a clear thing now. Okay, so 3 input neurons you have, x1, x2, x3. 2 hidden neurons you have. Okay, 4, 5, and you just see the next one. Okay, after finishing this, now you see W4, 6 and 5, 6. That means 4 and 5 are being connected to 6. Clear? Okay, so now you have the output neuron to be number 6. Is it clear? Okay, so that is what you have designed here previously. And one more thing, what this theta is, that it is the bias value that has to be supplied. Okay, theta 4 in the sense the bias value given to the 4th node. Okay, theta 5 in the sense the bias value given to the 5th one. Okay, and the last one 6 na, the bias value given to the 6th node. Okay, that is how you identify. Okay, so how will I draw the neural network now? So x1, x2, x3, I will put 3 individual nodes. Then you have the weightage connecting from each and every node to the middle nodes. Okay, W4 and W5. And again you have the outermost layer 6, and all the weightage and all the bias values are given. Okay, so now we have to go with the calculations. Okay, depending on this, I will draw this one. You just see you have got 1, 2, 3, and all the 4, 5, and 6. Okay, all the weightages, everything are given. So you yourself you can design the neural network now. Okay, depending on the question given. And in the question they have given you something called learning rate. Okay, the learning rate is given 0.9. Okay, all the values are given. And one more thing you have to notice, that the class label or the target value is 1. That means what? At the output you are expecting an answer of 1. Okay, suppose you could get a 0 over here. What should you do? You should move backwards. Why it is called as back propagation is that it will move backwards, and it will update the weight and bias. Okay, so in the introduction given by Madhuvanan sir, he might have told you about why are we updating the weight and bias. Okay, so why do we update the weight and bias each and every time? In order to get the correct output. Okay, for example, when I'm training the entire neural network, I'm getting a value 0. But what is my expectation? In the question they have given it to me with the class label of 1. That means the target value, what I want is actually 1. But I've got a 0. So what I will do? I will just back propagate. I'll move from the back in the backward direction. From 6, I will go on to 4 and 5. From 4, then again I will move on and I will be changing all the weight values and bias values. Then again I will train the network. Now the newly trained network, if it is giving again 0, then again you will update the weight and bias and again you will try it out. Okay, and you will try with much number of iterations to get a 1. Okay, so how are you doing this? Let us just these are the to be clear, I've given you the consolidated thing. I just tell you how are you solving this. Okay, so these are the formulas you will have to remember. So input, how will you calculate the input? As I told you earlier, so it is weightage value into the output. Okay, the and plus the theta j, the bias also you will take it. Okay, and the next one, I told you, know, we are going to use an activation function. So the activation function what we use here for back propagation is logistic or sigmoid function. So it is nothing but 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus ij. Okay, so ij is your net input, right? This is your net input. Okay, so that you have to give it here, and that becomes your net output. Are you clear with this one? This is your net input, means you have a node 4 over here, and all inputs were coming here now. This is your input ij and oj. Okay, just refer here. So here you will have all the ij. Okay, all the inputs are being collected here. This is the aggregated thing ij, and here you will have the net output called oj. Okay, that is what. So that's what you have written, and that OJ will be calculated using this particular formula. And the error value, and you are calculating the error at the hidden layer, as well as you have to calculate the error of the output layer. Okay, the error of the output layer is given by this particular formula, and the error of the hidden layer is given by this formula. Okay, and how I told you that we will be updating weights and biases in order to get the correct output. Okay, until we get the correct output, we keep on changing the weights and biases. So this is the formula to do that. And here something called L we have, that is your learning rate. Already in the question they have given you some value for learning rate. Okay, and I have told you something called, what is this TJ, is the target class. So target class or class label also they have mentioned in the question also. Okay, so this was equal to I think 1, right? Target value or the output value what they require class label is actually 1 they actually aimed at. And here learning rate was something called 0.9, I suppose, right? Learning rate, both these are given in the question. Okay, TJ as well as L. Okay, the T value and the L value is already mentioned in the question. Okay, so that's what. So you have to remember only these formulas. The same formula you will write it as an algorithm. Okay, so it will be very simple. Only you have to remember the formulas. So this is how you update the bias. Okay, so now you just see I have written the neural network now. Okay, see bias also I have added. Okay, based on this question, I've already told you I've designed x1, x2, x3, and what are the weightages. So I from the question I can understand I have 4 and 5. Okay, that means 2 hidden nodes, and finally I have one output node called 6. Okay, so now from x1, what is the weight connected to this one? It is nothing but W14. What is the weightage given here? W14. This is a question given. Okay, this is a total given question. From this, I'm designing a neural network, and again I'll solve with it. Okay. So how will you write now? So what is the value? W14 is 0.2. So this is your W14. So here I'm writing the value 0.2. And what is W15? So 1 I'm connecting to 5. What is this weightage? 0.3. Similarly, I'm marking. And what is theta 4? Theta 4 is the bias. So that bias which is connected to which node? 4th node. Okay. So bias that is connected to 4th node, I give the value to be minus 0.2. And what is the theta 5? That is the bias that is connected to 5th node, equal to be theta 5, that is 0.1. And I have theta 6, the bias that is connected to 6 is 0.1. Okay. So you are giving all the what all I have given. Using that I have drawn a neural network. Okay, and learning rate they have given in the question is 0.9, and class level the TJ I have told you know that is equal to 1. Okay, so all these are mentioned now. So now how will we get the, so what I told you that this is your net input here and this is a net output. Okay, are you clear with this one? Net input over here and this is your net output. So how will you calculate the net input? So it is 1 into 0.2. Okay, plus 0 into 0.4. And what is this arrow? Plus 1 into minus 0.5. That is your net input over here. Okay, is it clear now? So how do you calculate? 3 arrow marks plus 1 bias. All 4 are pointing towards node 4. Okay. So how will I calculate now? 1 into 0.2 plus 0 into 0.4 plus 1 into minus 0.5. Okay. And finally plus the bias also I will add. Okay, this is the net input at the layer 4, sorry, the node 4, and now I have to apply the activation function. So that is logistic function or sigmoid function 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus ij. That's the formula. And I will employ the activation function over here, and finally I'll get the output at this 4. Okay, here I'll get the output. And that output again will multiply this one, again it will be given over here. Okay, like that it goes on. So you just see how did I do this. You just see, I've told you no. See, I have given a sample here. This is the rough work. Okay, no, this is the correct one. This is the answer I computed. How to solve it? Okay, because you can just refer in case if you have any doubt while working out the problem. Okay, I've written the formula here. So now how did I write? It is 0.2 into, this is your weightage. Okay, weight into input plus, okay, the weight, second weight into its input, third weight into input plus what is this one? It is a bias value. So I get a value of minus 0.7, right? Okay, I told you that this is aggregated input at node 4. Now I have to apply the activation function, and then only I can calculate the output of the node 4. So what is the activation function? Out, this is the net input ij, this is the net output oj. So how should we calculate? The formula already I have given you. So 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus what is the formula? You just refer and see, 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus ij. Okay, so here minus into this minus will become plus. So I'm having it to be 0.7. So if you see, you can even just do it and see. Okay, so here I have written for your understanding. Okay, so when you solve and see, I'm getting the answer to be 0.0333. Sorry, 0.3318. So I'm approximating it as 0. Rounding it off. Okay, 0.332. So that one I'm getting it here. Same way you're finding it out for node 5 also. Then I'm getting the output to be equal to 0.525. And for 6 also I have to calculate. For 6, how will I calculate? Now I know the output at 4 is 0.332. Okay. Now I know the output at this place is 0.332. So it is 0.332 into minus 0.3 will become the input to this. Okay. And what value I got it here? 0. Some value I got. So it is 0.525. Okay. So it is 0.525 over here. 0.525 into minus 0.2. That you will get the next one. Okay. Plus the bias value 0.1 you will be adding. Okay. See, I have written it for nodes. So you do like that and you get this answer. So this is the net input at node 6. So if I have to get the output of node 6, I should use this activation function. So 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus ij. So in the place of minus ij, I have minus 0.105 minus into minus plus. So I have it to be 0.105. So this is the output. Okay, clear of this? Okay, so this is what I have consolidated here. Okay, in the to be clear with, I've generally given all these answers directly here. Okay, you will have a neat structure. Okay, so I just worked it out in order to make you understand. Okay, so hope this one is clear. And the next one, now you have to calculate the error. So first you have calculated everything. Now, if you don't get the required thing, what will you do now? You have to now calculate the error. Okay, the error value. So how to calculate the error? So the error value, I've given you two formulas. Okay, calculating the error at the hidden layer, calculating the error at the output layer. Two different formulas are there. So first, in order to, I told you that it is a back propagation. So from 6 it moves backward. Okay, actually your 6th node was here. You should now move backward direction, and you should update all the weight and biases, right? Okay. So now first you have to calculate the output layer. After finishing the error calculation output layer, then only you can move backward towards 4 and 5. Okay. So first I'm calculating the output layer 6. Okay. So what is the formula? Error of j equal to oj into 1 minus oj into tj minus oj. So oj is the output. Okay. Output at which one? 6th node. J is currently 6, isn't it? So output, what is the output over here? Okay. So that one you have to get it. Okay, and you are, and now you are calculating. Okay, what is the output now? 0.474, isn't it? That is the output. So here I'm writing output at 6th, 0.474 into 1 minus 0.474, and the target value I've already told you, it is given in the question, it is 1. Okay, it is 1. So I've written here 1 minus what is the output. So I get an answer over here. So using this, now you have to back propagate. Okay, now after calculating this one, after calculating layer 6, now you have to calculate the 4 and 5. Okay, like this you are moved in the backward direction. So hence this is called as back propagation. Only after finding 6, now you can find out 4 and 5. Clear? Now I am finding 4. You just see what is the formula? Oj into 1 minus oj into summation Okay, and the OJ value. Okay, so you and now you just verify. So I'm just substituting all the values. Okay, and here alone you see it is error of k. What is this error of k? Now you have to use the output nodes. Okay, what is the, from where are you now back propagating? From sixth node only you're back propagating, right, to the fourth node. Yes or no? From the sixth node only, from the sixth node only you're back propagating node to node 4 and 5. So you have to write the output of the error of which one now? Sixth. What is the sixth value? 0.1311. So that is what is written here. Is it clear to you? Okay, so hence I'm solving and I'm giving it here. So this is the answer. The same way for 5 also. 5 was also from 6 only or back propagating to 5. So here also the error k, what answer you will give here? Summation of error k is this answer you will give it here. And remaining you go with the formula and you substitute and get the answer. Okay, that is how I'm calculating the error over here. Okay, after calculating the error, you calculated the output. If you don't get a positive value 1, okay, now you are finding out the error value. Okay, you are calculating the error. Now again you have to using on this is done in back propagation. Okay, in backward direction. And now you have to update the weight and the bias also. Okay, you keep on updating the weight and the bias until you reach, and again you train the network and you try to get a target of 1. Okay, so now how to update the weight and the bias? So already I have given you the formula. Okay, in the previous slides you can refer to. So the formula is Wij plus learning rate L. Okay, L into error J into OI. Okay. So what is now Ij? So it is nothing but, for example, I am finding out for W4 6. So it is I is equal to 4 and J is equal to 6. Okay, 4 6. So which is equal to now? Now find out W. What is the weightage at Wij? Okay, you just Wij means what? Currently weightage at 4 6. Current weight. Okay. So current weight at 4 6. What is the weightage? So it is minus 0.3 plus what is the learning rate? L is the learning rate. So it is 0.9 given in the question. And error at what is J? I is 4 and J is 6. What is the error at 6? 0.1311. Okay, you can just refer to 0. Here it is 0.131. Okay, you can just refer your previous thing and you can do. And your output at OI. OI means what? I is fourth one. Okay, so what is the output you have at OI? OI na O4. Okay, output of 4. That you copy down here and you calculate. The same way you are calculating. Now how to update the bias also? So similarly you will update all the bias, all the weight, okay, using the formula. And how will you now update the bias value? So the formula is theta j is equal to theta j plus learning rate into error of j. Okay, same way. Okay, the theta j value I'm substituting. Okay, the original bias value. Okay, current bias value plus learning rate. Okay, learning rate into error of j. Error of j now j is equal to 6 now. What is the error value over there that you already calculated? Substitute that and get the value. The same way you have to compute for layer 5 and layer 4 also. Okay, so this is how you update the weight and the bias. Okay, everything is being updated now and you keep on updating this until you get an output of the target value 1. Okay, so now in this so here what are you doing is that you are first you move in the forward direction, you train the network and you try to get the output. If you don't get the correct output, if your target is 1, if you don't get a 1 value, then you back propagate from 6, you move on to 4 5, and then and you find out the error, you fully back propagate and you update the weight and bias, and then you try to find out the target value. Until you reach the target value 1, you keep on training the network. Okay, so this is what is about back propagation. Okay, so that's the end of the class. So I'll just tell what all we have covered. Okay, so we have discussed about logic gates, right? We have discussed about what are the logic gates, and the point to remember is and or and not can be solved by single layer perceptron. XOR cannot be solved by single layer perceptron. So to solve XOR problem, you have to go to multi-layer perceptron. Okay, that's the inference you have gained from here. And you know, and you should know how to, when you are given a neural network, you are supposed to identify what gate it is actually. Okay, so what type of gate this particular neural network supports. Okay, will be given a question and will be asked to do. So how to do this is given, example is given over here. Okay, so that is what. And and we have gone to the back propagation network. And in back propagation, you have to design your one problem will be given or the question will be given. You have to design the neural network by yourself. After which you have to find out, you have to train the entire network, and you have to try to get the output value one. If you don't reach your target value, you back propagate, you update the weight and bias until you train the network and you try to get the output value. Okay, what you actually expect. If you until you gain the expected value or the target value, you keep on training the entire network. Okay. So with that, we'll wind up today's session. Hope it will be clear to you. If you have any queries, you can just text me. Okay. So that's the end of today's session. Uh, so that's it. Okay.